Hi there, this is Patricia Fenty, and today we are going to do an intuitive healing painting. And I will tell you all about it as we go through the tutorial, so we can just get started. And the first thing we'll do is look at the supplies you're going to need for this project. So you'll need some sort of a painting surface. You can use a canvas or canvas board or mixed media art paper. Any kind of painting surface will be fine. And then you'll need a paint tray or a plate. And then you'll need an assortment of acrylic paints. I have all my liquid acrylics in this tray here, so I'm going to keep that to the side. So just an assortment, anything you have will be fabulous. These here are some of my favorite medium body acrylics, and I have some gold here, and there's some copper paint, and this is burnt sienna. I don't know if I'll use all of these, I just have them ready. And so those are the paints. Then you'll need an assortment of paintbrushes and mark making tools. There's no rules here. I mean, you could literally paint with your hands if you liked. So I have an assortment here. This is kind of a fun fan brush, and I have a chopstick in here, a couple of fine paintbrushes. And then I have an assortment of foam paintbrushes. I love working with these. And then I have some water and a damp rag. And then I also have an assortment of printmaking tools. And again, this is personal. You can use whatever you like. I have a card here to make some sort of straight marks. This is that sort of non-stick drawer liner. I have a couple of different texture styles here. This is one of those fruit wraps, and that'll make an interesting pattern. And I've got some bubble wrap. This one's a little worn out. I don't know how it'll work out, but I have a sea sponge, and I have a stencil here. I have other stencils, but I just brought this one in. And then I have some gold jelly roll pens, because I may do some doodling, I may not, I'm not sure. And then I brought in some gold leaf, because I might do a little bit of gold leaf work. I don't know, I may or may not. So I'll put this all over in my basket on the side, because if I use that later on. And if you decide to use gold leaf, you'll need a medium, like a varnish medium or Mod Podge to help adhere the gold leaf. And if you're working on mixed media paper, I would recommend that you use gesso to paint on the back side of your paper, and that will help prevent your paper from curling forward from your painted surface on the front. Other than that, I think we just need our hands. So before we get started, I just want to talk to you about my book. This project is based on this book that I wrote a few years ago, Healing Through Creative Expression, using intuitive painting, writing, and storytelling. And it's a really lovely little book to use if you want to work using creativity as a healing modality. And I was inspired to write this book when I did this project here. And it actually took me 2 weeks to do the entire project. And it was a really magical process, how this whole thing unfolded. And I used a combination of storytelling and intuitive writing, a way of sort of writing to the soul, asking for guidance, and then also the intuitive painting. So I write about the whole process in the book. I take you through a 7-step process, and I talk a little bit about how everything works. And there's some colored pictures, and it gets your supply lists. And it also gives some techniques on how to deal with some of the emotions that may arise. as you're going through the process, but it's a pretty in-depth process. So today we're just going to do a modified version. So rather than working on a big area to work on, I'm going to choose to work on letting go. This technique is really good to use on things like limiting beliefs or some particular issues, maybe a relationship issue you have or a block that you may have. If you're feeling stuck in your life, something, sort of a bit of a smaller type issue is really good for this type of technique. So what we're going to do is once you choose whatever issue you want to work on, you're going to write things that are related to that issue on your blank canvas. Now, I am choosing to work on letting go, and I've been having ongoing issues with that. It's sort of a common one. And I'm actually doing this on September the 13th. It's Friday the 13th, and it's a harvest full moon. And this moon in particular is very powerful in regards to letting go. So you can bring in other sort of elements like that if you like, if you believe in that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and write down all the issues for me that are around letting go, and I will come back and show you what I've done there. Okay, so here we go. I've written on my canvas all my issues around letting go. So I ended up sort of going in a circle, a spiral. So letting go of pain body, of fatigue, of control, perfection, letting going of money blocks, letting go of responsibility, success blocks, letting go of mind chatter. So of course, this is going to be personal for you. So once you've written everything down on your canvas, if you like, you can do a little invocation, a little prayer, something before you begin to paint that sets the intention for releasing the particular issue that you chose to work on. So it's totally up to you. I'm not going to actually guide you through that. I think it is a very personal process, so you can say a little prayer, set an intention, and do something like that. I've already done that. So really, all you do, you just intuitively allow yourself to reach for some colors of paint. And you really don't want to think about this too much. Oh, I didn't shake that up very well. Yeah, you really don't want to overthink this process. And if you find yourself feeling stuck, just maybe even close your eyes and just grab a paint color. It's you'd really want to use your intuition, and you may start with some really dark colors. You may be called to paint the whole thing black or red or a mix of both, or browns or some dark colors. Just follow your intuition and just start painting. No rules, no direction, no thought. Just allow your hand to do whatever it wants to do. Just let it be intuitive. And that's the beauty of this. And, I'm using lighter colors because I've actually done a lot of work around this whole letting go issue. So I have done pieces before where I've started with some pretty dark colors. So now you could see with these colors how some of the colors are blending together. You might get some muddy colors, and that's just all part of the process. One other thing I forgot to mention for supplies was to mention a spray bottle for water. So I'm just sprinkling some water on the canvas here. And oh, there goes my hands. I just have to get my hands in here. I often paint with my hands. I'm very much a hands-on painter. I really love how it feels. So my hands are on the canvas, I'm adding some water, and I'm just mixing the paints together. And oh my gosh, this really feels amazing. And I'm wanting more pink in there. And so I'm just pouring it right on the canvas. Seriously, there are no rules. Okay, so I wanted to put both hands on the canvas, and so I pulled my left hand away, and that's really interesting. Pay attention to things like that, because my intuition said paint with both hands, but very quickly a thought came in and said, oh no, you can't do that. You need a clean hand to handle the camera. So pay attention to where your intuition asks you to do something and then your mind quickly overrides and says, no, don't do that. So then do it. So this feels so good. So now I'm feeling like I want more red in this. So now I'm just reaching for primary red and pouring it right on the canvas. And just blending it in. If you hear a little voice saying, oh, I can't do that, do it. If you hear any criticism, just say, thank you, but I am not listening to you right now. And don't analyze the process. Don't analyze what you're painting. Don't think about anything. I'm just bringing in one of my printmaking tools. I don't know if this will work, but oh, that looks kind of cool. And so I'm just going to speed it up here and continue to add more colors, more textures. Again, I'm not thinking very much. Now I'm bringing in some coral and just sort of putting it on the canvas. And I'm sort of putting it around the outside. I don't know why. And so what happens with acrylic paint is as it's wet, the colors will blend together. So you have two choices. So you can continue to paint the wet layers upon each other, or you can stop and just let the layer dry, and you can walk away and you can just sit with this layer for a while. You can even meditate on it. And then you can come back once it's dried and do another layer. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop now and let it dry, and I'll come back. Okay, I'm back and my canvas is dry. So I was actually hungry, so I had a little snack and washed my hands. So if you wanted to, you could use a hairdryer to dry this layer more quickly. So now I'm going to carry on, and I'm feeling like I want to add some yellow. And this is a medium body paint, so it's a little bit heavier. And I also have this quinacridone rose. I can't say it. I love the color, but I can't pronounce it. And for this paint, I'm kind of feeling like I want to use a paintbrush. I'm just reaching for my foam paintbrush. And I'm just going to start making some marks on the canvas. And again, I'm not really thinking about this. Just putting the marks on the canvas as I feel like I want to, and mixing up the yellow and the pink a little bit, and just adding layers on. And now I'm going to add a bit of white, and I've taken a different paintbrush, And now the colors are sort of blending together in a really nice way. And now this is interesting. This is really where the intuition is coming in. So I start to paint these big sort of swiping marks, which end up looking like flames. And it's literally like I'm burning up the issue that I chose to work on. And this was a really interesting process. And I'm going to shortly here just sort of turn it and look at it from different angles. Now, if I was painting this myself, I might have painted a face in there, but because I'm doing a tutorial and I'm not teaching you how to do faces, I just carried on painting sort of the flame colors. And then now I'm just bringing in some pink and some more white, and now the lines are becoming straight up and down. I don't know why I'm doing this. I actually often do this when I paint, and I'm not sure why, but it's very relaxing. I can't really explain it other than it just feels really good when I paint in this way, and I like the straight kind of lines. So now I'm adding in some blue, and I'm adding in some teal, and I'm really enjoying the process here. This is really a lot of fun. So I'm feeling like this layer is complete, and I'm gonna let it dry. I'm probably gonna take the hair dryer to it, and then I'll come back. I have a little bit of an idea of the direction I want to go with this, but I'll come back. All right, I'm back. My canvas is dried, and I'm going to try a technique that I saw in a coffee shop. And this is a bit of a reach for me because it's something I've never done before. I don't actually know what I'm doing. And the reason why I'm trying this technique, because it's part of my letting go process. The idea of just trying something that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it, but I'm just going to try. So this is working well with my process. So what I'm wanting to do is paint the outline of abstract flowers, leaving the color in behind, and then filling in the in-between space with sort of a creamy white color. So I'm using a medium weight white paint for this, and then I'm just painting the outline of the flowers and doing the leaves here. And I should mention too, I'm actually not an artist. I didn't do very well in art in school. I got sort of a C plus average always in art. And I think actually I was one of these wounded artists where I didn't realize that I had my own unique creative abilities. Here I'm going to this is my harvest moon, even though it's flowers in the daylight. I guess it could be a sun too. But anyways, I, a few years ago, allowed myself to just play with my creativity and play with the painting, and I was really surprised some of the beautiful art that started to come out of me. So here I am. I'm just starting to fill this in, and this paint is a little bit heavy, and so just painting in between the flowers with the white. And so I'm actually just going to turn the camera off now because this is a little bit monotonous. You get the idea of what I'm doing. So I'll fill this all in, and I'll come back and show you how I've made out with that. All right, so I'm back, and here's how it turned out. It feels like it's getting near done. I've outlined with all the white cream colored paint, and then I defined it more with some white paint, just around there with white. You can't really see it. I just used a fine brush for that. But I'm kind of not really liking the texture. You probably can't see it in the camera, but I don't really like the texture. So I'm going to add another layer of just white using a sea sponge. And then just fill in over the white here with the sea sponge. And just to give it another sort of texture, another layer. And I like how this is looking. And I know you can't actually really see this in the camera because the colors aren't defined enough, but it really does look quite nice. And so just filling that all in. And now I'm feeling that this is complete. And so there you go. Now, once you've done your painting and you've completed it, you may want to do it over a couple of days, that's fine. But just sort of notice, however, the next few days or maybe even the next week or so, that whatever the issue is that you decided to work on, pay attention to any little shifts or any little changes, or that maybe there's not so much energy around the energy, or perhaps the issue is released completely. You can always repeat the process again if you want to go deeper into the issue. And again, I'm just going to plug my book here because this goes into a much deeper process if you like this idea and you want to go more deeply. So I hope you enjoyed this intuitive healing painting process. So please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you in the next video.